Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ignite the Vote 2015. I want to thank Jessica Cantu and Eric Ridley of the Hilton Garden Inn for providing us with such a wonderful venue for an important event. This year's Ignite the Vote campaign continues our mission of connecting, engaging, and involving Cayuga County's younger population by informing them about local election candidates, their platforms, and the issues our community is facing. Our nonpartisan approach provides various opportunities for young voters to gather the necessary information they need to make an informed decision about who would best represent them. The ultimate goal is to convey the message that local elections matter and each vote counts. You have a say, you can ignite the vote. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement and 2 minutes for a closing statement. Questions asked during the forum have been submitted anonymously by an online survey. Candidates will be given 2 minutes to answer and 1 minute for a rebuttal. Mayoral candidates will begin from 6 to 6:45. We will have a 5-minute break and then proceed with City Council. Matt Weston will be doing the timing. He will be holding up a yellow card for 30 seconds and a red card for a time. Robert Harding will be the moderator for tonight's event. Robert is a political reporter for The Citizen, but also works as the paper's online producer. Mr. Harding has won numerous awards for his work as a reporter, including 3 from the New York News Publishers Association and 2 from the New York State Associated Press Association for his blog Eye on New York, covering Central New York's political scene. He is also proud to be a part of the teams at The Citizen that have won awards for Everyone's Battle, the series on domestic violence in Cayuga County, and the Wealth of Hardship series on poverty. He is also a graduate of Leadership Cayuga, class of 2012, which is the best class ever. With that, I give you the floor, Robert.
Thank you, John. Great introduction. Just a word about John. He mentioned that we were in Leadership Cayuga together a few years ago. When I saw that he was going to head up Ignite, I couldn't think of a better person to lead Ignite. He's just got the passion and energy needed for the job, so give him a round of applause. So let's get right into this. We're going to start with opening statements first. We'll start with Mr. Lattimore here on my immediate right. It's a 2-minute opening statement.
I'd like to thank Ignite for having us here tonight. I think it's very healthy to have a debate of this nature for the mayoral campaign. I think first and foremost, a couple of years ago when I was running for legislator, I indicated that we had a heroin problem. And the first thing that I will do when I'm mayor is to put on a couple more police officers. I know for some reason this administration has had a problem with adding some additional police officers. I know that we can do that. Secondly, what I want to do is, right now we have year-round alternate side parking. I will do away with that. I think that that's just a miserable way to tax people. And number 3 is what's near and dear to my heart, where I grew up and learned a lot, was at the Y field, and I will make sure that the plumbing is efficient when the activities are over there. Right now, both at the Y field and Herman Ave, there's no bathroom facilities for the ladies that are playing and the men. And I know growing up it was always open, and I will work on those things. So thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me all right? Sometimes this mic seems to fail. I'd like to thank our event organizer, Ignite, and the chair, John Wilcox, for inviting us here today. Thank you to Robert Harding for moderating, and thank you to the staff at Hilton Garden Inn for their hospitality. It's been my privilege to serve as Auburn's mayor for the past 8 years. I am running for a 3rd term because there are so many exciting things happening in our community that I want to continue to move Auburn in a positive direction. I would like to point out 3 areas that we have made progress. Our downtown renaissance has perhaps been the most exciting thing to see happen. Our downtown has seen significant improvements, including the beautiful building we are sitting in today, the award-winning Prison City Brewery, A.T. Wally's, Asteria Selena, Moondog Lounge, Wild for Yogurt, and Thirsty Pub in the Genesee Mall are just a few of the businesses that have been sprung up in the last few years. We currently see the next phase of this under construction in the East Hill area, or on East Hill and Genesee Street. And by the end of the month, another new restaurant, Hobnob, will be opening its doors. The city just reported it had a 6% increase in sales tax revenue from our budget year. I believe the growth we have seen downtown is the reason for this. We have worked hard to bring stability to city finances. We are well served by our city manager, Doug Selby, and this year we renewed his employment contract. At the beginning of 2014, we brought on our new city comptroller. The current city council, by a 3-2 vote, adopted a 5-year financial plan to bring long-term stability to city finances. Our city budgets have ended up with surpluses for the past 2 years. We have worked in partnership with the county to move our economic development strategy forward. With Andrew Fish's leadership, CETA is off to a great start. I serve on the CETA board, the Central New York Red Sea, and also New York State Workforce Investment Board, the last two being appointed by Governor Cuomo. We have been working with CETA to prioritize Auburn and Cayuga County in the region's economic development.
We'll get right into the questions, and just a reminder, these were submitted by members of Ignite through a community or online survey, rather. The first question, we'll start with Mayor Quill for this. What do you view as the single largest challenge facing Auburn, and how can that problem be rectified?
There is two things that are equally important. One, in no particular order, but because they're both very, very important. First of all, the heroin, the illegal drug activity. We as a community in all of New York State, the entire country needs to get a better handle on this. I don't believe that extra police officers on the street are going to help. I think it goes deeper than that. We need more hospitals, more doctors. Let's handle the problem from the beginning and not when it's too late and we end up in the court system. Secondly, economic development is just as important. We're on an upswing. We're going and growing. We need to do that. We need to continue. It's through hard work and partnerships with private investors that have made this area great, and we continue to hope to do that.
The job situation, I think, because we're losing Dakin McQuay, 300 jobs. I think that the stability of the region being down in jobs creates a no-hope situation for some of the addicted people. And I think that everything starts with a job. If you received one of these in the mail today, on the back of it there's a website, and it outlines a 4-page plan in which we can get ourselves back on the road of recovery in regards to jobs. I hope that everybody goes there and sees what I've offered. I think that the strategy that we've outlined there is, I don't know whether the mayor has one, but we do have a plan to get ourselves out of the hole.
We do have a plan. We don't need to send a postcard out to lead you to another place to look. You're sitting in one of our plans. Different restaurants we've opened, that have opened in the area, that's our plan. To continue on that route. The upside of it. Working with private individuals to increase the livelihood and the well-being of the city of Auburn. So we really don't need a website or a postcard. Look around you. This is part of the plan.
Some years ago when I was mayor, we had a $800 million hotel convention center. I think this is a $10 million one, which would have drawn 6 million people a year, would have created $8 million in property tax, would have created 2,100 union jobs. And that little project is going down the street to Seneca County, where if there's any problems from our people going there, we're going to end up with sometimes up and down the thruway, there is major development, and we're missing it because we're not out there peddling what Auburn has to offer.
Quick clarification. Is there a limited number of times you can go back and forth, or is it one and done, or what's the rules?
Just,
I'm asking about it.
we'll limit it to one,
Thank you.
just so we can get to more questions.
Thank you.
The next question. In April 2015, the State Office of the Comptroller released a fiscal stress evaluation of the City of Auburn based on a review of a series of financial and environmental indicators. While the city overall fell far below the state's threshold to be deemed fiscally stressed, a review of socioeconomic indicators points to concerning trends, including a rising 31% child poverty rate. In your opinion, what role should city government play in helping to address child poverty, and what strategies do you think would be most effective in our community?
Well, as I indicated, I think that, a job is the most important thing that we can do for these families that are in poverty. And we have to, and right now I'm wearing a button that we were at the governor down in Buffalo, and they created the world's largest solar panel manufacturer. Auburn was on a pretty good path in order to put ourselves in that position where maybe we could do some manufacturing and some of the new technologies that are coming out. I see Mr. Cuddy is laughing. I hope that this is a serious business, Mr. Cuddy, and I hope that we can put ourselves in a better position than what we have been doing in order to help those kids out of poverty.
The city by no means is the expert in poverty. I have to agree with my opponent here that the important part of poverty, correcting poverty, is jobs. But not just jobs to have a job, but well-paying jobs. We need parents to be able to stay home and raise their family and educate them and work with them. So to pay them a fair wage is just as important as just having a job or a parent running from 2 to 3 jobs to try and support themselves. I mentioned the other day about a woman that I know personally who ended up living in a car because of 2 things, poverty and also spousal abuse. Those are 2 very important and critical issues that need to be dealt with in this community. I wish it could be a wonderful world where everyone is happy and everyone works their 8 hours, they make enough money and they go home and spend time with their family. But we don't have that luxury. So we all have to get together, whichever means it takes, to help these people to correct their situation.
Next question. Are you in support of the efforts to potentially build a new public safety building through a private-public partnership? What are the benefits or drawbacks of building a new facility rather than fixing and updating the existing building?
Absolutely 100% building a new public safety building. You know, through personal experience, I spent 32 years at the fire department. It outgrew its usefulness. It was a great building in its day. It's become aged. We cannot even park our fire trucks in certain places. The police department is undergoing a growth problem also. They have no room. One of the biggest items that should be involved in a public safety building is an area for training, where the training can be held on the premises. We have a wonderful training facility on Quarry Road. But they still do in-house training, not only for the police, for firefighters, for the emergency medical technicians that also need to be trained, and also for the community to be held different types of training that may be necessary, may be asked for. That's what public safety is about, working with and for the community.
The financial situation of the city right now, I believe some people have indicated that there's $100 million worth of debt. To add on another $20 or $30 million for a new public safety building might be a little bit of a stretch. I think that I know the mayor has indicated that he's got a surplus, but I don't see a surplus when when you borrow money from your pension plan, from the state, and you got to repay that back, I think it was $750,000. When you have to go out and ask Senator Schumer to get a safer grant to pay for the firemen, you know, you're really not in financially good stead. So especially the way that this finance package is coming together, it's going to be off the books. It's not a bonded city project. At the end of 30 years, you're going to have to rebuy it, put a new roof on it, or whatever repairs are going to have to be needed at the end of 30 years. So it's just, it's not the right way to do things. I don't disagree with the mayor in regards that we probably need one, but I don't know whether now we can afford one. And I'd like to see some kind of a different use project where I had indicated, you know, the weight of the engines are what's making that building deteriorate. And if you use another location, such as like a parking garage where you can park them on the first floor and then you have multi-use in the building. So if it's a multi-use building, it might be a little more practical in regards to the financing of it. But right now, the city manager, I think a couple months ago, indicated that we were stressed to the max. So I don't know whether or not the city can afford another $30 million in public safety.
Shifting to the arts with the next question here. How will you further support or engage with the arts, specifically professionally quality arts, which is becoming a large part of the Renaissance?
I don't know whether you know my history, but I was on the Merry-Go-Round Playhouse board when we had to put up our houses for collateral to keep that going under Sue Rightford. I have always been I have a son that's on Broadway, and I go deep with theater. I enjoy it, and I'd like to see more of it. I don't know whether or not it's the end-all or be-all. I think you have to have good paying jobs for the regular sector in order to go to those theaters to buy tickets. So I think that the job comes first before a lot of theater. If you know the Merry-Go-Round finances, the Playhouse itself is not a money maker. The actual bands that go out to the different schools make the money, and it's almost like a gift to have the Merry-Go-Round. So it's very difficult to run a theater.
When you talk about arts, the arts, I think of quality of life. We all want a great place to live, to work, have a job, and to work. But we only work 8-10 hours a day, and we have to have something to do afterwards. We need to improve the quality of life, or keep the quality of life up with the arts, be it a music theater festival, whatever the case may be. People will travel for a job. I don't like to see that, but they will travel. If they have a great community to live in and to raise their family, which includes the arts and everything along the line, that's what's important, just as important as a job, the quality of life. We can't forget that when we talk about recruiting new jobs. When we get these new jobs, we have to have something for the people to do in their off time.
Next question takes up the issue of the city landfill. There's been news that the city landfill is almost at capacity. What will you do to reduce the amount of waste that is sent to the landfill by the city and by residents?
The landfill is near capacity. What we have to start looking into, in my opinion, is a transfer station. We need to close the cell. We need to fill it up and put as much trash in there as we can. Close it, seal it, start having methane gas develop from it, which is a whole other subject. But we need a transfer station, not to open another cell. Cells are very, very expensive. We could open up another cell, open up a transfer station, truck our garbage out of here, and maintaining our workforce. I don't ever want to give up door-to-door pickup of our trash or recyclables. So I say, let's get everything into the landfill we can, have a plan prepared for a waste station, and move forward in that regard.
The landfill was an asset at one time before the giant Seneca Metals came into play. It was when Bruce Clifford was around, he made all the payments out of the landfill. It was a cash cow at that point, but competition has made it a little bit different. The economy, or the economy of scale. But anyways, I built a couple cells when I was a counselor, and you know, I think we could maybe, you know, for years, we didn't reduce some of the overhead. At night, we would buy virgin sand and cover the material that by state law you have to cover at night. And I think that we could have had a byproduct out of a digester at the sewage treatment plant. You use that material at night. Instead of filling up that hole that costs millions of dollars to build, instead of filling it up with sand that we had to pay for, we should have been filling up with material that could have used as cover. And I think that saved ourselves hauling. I think it cost us about $800,000 to haul our sludge to another landfill up in Rochester. I think that that's been reduced a little bit, but it's still, for 6 years, it's been costly to run the operation the way it's been run. And there's no reason to fill up a multi-million-dollar hole with a product that's not environmentally unstable, like sand.
I have to be quick because I'm limited on time. First of all, many of the things that happen in landfill, if not all of them, were mandated by DEC, Department of Environmental Conservation, so they required the cover. Secondly, we're going to hear more probably about the cogen, the digester. How about the quality of life of the people who live down in that neighborhood, down on Case Avenue, Bryan Street, Cayuga Street, with all these hundreds and hundreds of tons of garbage coming in for the digester? It doesn't make sense, and I guess I'd have to look to the county for their 2 cents on whether the digester works or not, which as far as I know is still not operating.
Mayor, if you knew the operation down there, one summer I did the expansion down there. It's interesting how the sewage treatment plant works. But the sludge that comes out of there, DEC won't let you put it directly on the land. You got to put lime on it and what have you. But if you had a digester that it would go through, and you could have built a digester like every farmer does for about $1 million, you could have saved yourself $800,000 a year from hauling it. And at one time we were burning the sludge, which environmentally was probably the worst thing you could do for the neighborhood down there. So I think that the operation of a digester was environmentally a lot better than what was there. They wanted to continue burning it, and they needed an upgrade of about $8 million worth of upgrades to the hardware. So a digester was the answer, and you didn't build it.
Next question. What would you do to help incentivize our local businesses to become more environmentally friendly?
Give me the question again, will you?
What would you do to help incentivize our local businesses to become more environmentally friendly?
Well, I think the city was a leader in regards to environmentally friendly. Our city hall was geothermal, and our fire and police was geothermal. Our state-of-the-art BOCES, silver certificate, geothermal. Our college is geothermal. I think that we had a great start on really becoming the greenest city in central New York. We could have been a role model for not just the cities in this state, but also the country. And I think that a lot of those efforts were squashed. So it's unfortunate that other places are getting the jobs that we could have.
That's puzzling. Auburn for many years has been recycling plastic, paper, metal, things of that nature. I just enrolled today in Solarize New York to find out if my home qualifies to help save some energy help me save some money. I'll be the first to admit that. But there's programs out there that are available like that. We need to be on top of that to see what we can do. I lost Mr. Lattimore's statement there that I wanted to jump on. I apologize for that. But there's always a better way to save the world, and we have to be a part of it, whether it's solarizing or recycling. Whatever we can come up with is certainly worthwhile.
The Solarized New York, I mean, we were about a light year ahead of that program. You had it at your disposal, the Auburn Power Authority. As you know or might not know, Skinny Atlas, the cost of energy there is a lot less than the cost of energy here for the homeowners. We had a referendum. The public decided to put that program in place, and I don't know why you keep bypassing the Power Authority, but that could be an answer for everybody. When you have a referendum that tells you to do it and you don't do it by the public, I just don't understand it. But anyways, down the street, Skinny Atlas rates are for 2-bedroom or 4-bedroom are probably a third of what our costs are to heat and cool a house. So we should be doing more of it.
Property owners in Auburn have seen their water, sewer bills, assessments, and taxes go up. At the same time, ADA has been handing out generous tax breaks to developers, apartment owners, etc., which places a greater burden on the rest of homeowners who must carry the load of tax increases. Should we reevaluate these pilots to make sure they go only to industry that will generate high-paying jobs in our community?
I'm glad this come up. Everyone wants a big new factory to come into the area. There are thousands and thousands of communities out there that want factories. They want business as well as we do. Without pilot agreements, we're not even in the ballgame. They're necessary to help encourage new business, new growth in the area. Going back to Mr. Lattimore, he tells all this about everything that he's done in the past. He's had 4 years as a county legislator. He's had 4 years, or excuse me, he's had 4 years in council, 4 years as mayor, and 6 years on the county legislature. Why isn't he worried about Auburn during all those jobs? He should have been in the forefront, encouraging, especially as of late, and I believe he's the vice chair of the county legislature. So maybe the city was wrong, I don't think so, but I certainly should think that Mr. Lattimore would have helped us along the way to help Auburn grow and continue.
I believe that the legislator has helped. We were supposed to have a shovel-ready site at the county. I found that we didn't have one when we were chasing the photovoltaic industries that ended up down in Albany. But I see former mayor and legislator Christy Angeles here, and I know that we have used incentives in order to keep manufacturing here. Snyder General was going to Brownsville, Tennessee, and we got on a plane after a lot of negativity saying don't go, they're making their move. Thank God we went down, Chris and I and Mayoral, and we kept Snyder General here. When you went out to see Mr. Schwartz, you should have had the governor with you, like he went into Anheuser-Busch the other day and gave them a couple million in order to keep them around. So sometimes you have to get a better team in order to capture some of those larger companies.
I guess you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That's the difference between the two of us. One of us, meaning myself, believes in the future of what we can do. Mr. Lattimore, my opponent, believes in the past, living in the past. Let's get out of those years. Let's keep moving forward and keep plugging and looking positive about our lives.
Well, I believe a $100 million milk plan is not the past, and I believe that the Goober Corporation that's coming in from Canada, which I met the other day at the chamber dinner, I don't believe that they are the past, I think they're the future. And one of the issues that they're very concerned about is the cost of energy. We've got a $100,000 grant to do a feasibility study to make sure that the cogen that's going into their plant is going to help not only with the electricity costs, but also with some hot water and other issues. So I don't know who's living in the past or who knows what the future is. I think I have a pretty good idea.
We agree to disagree.
Next question deals with the heroin issue locally. Less than 2 weeks ago, Auburn emergency responders had to administer Narcan 4 times in 24 hours. If you were elected, how do you plan to ramp up efforts against our heroin epidemic?
I see Amy Cox in the back of the room. I think education is the best way to get our kids to stay away. Amy she's a health coordinator at the high school. I don't know whether anybody knows or doesn't know, but I do work with these kids and grown-ups that are afflicted with some of these addictions. And education is the best thing for our children. And hopefully Amy can press the school board into bringing this information to the kids sooner than later. This stuff that's on the street today is absolute poison, and I believe that we should have some foot soldiers on the ground. You know, some of the police, they stay a little too close to the building. I'd like to see them out in the streets a little more, learning a lot more as to who's trafficking, who's not. As I go around knocking on doors, I can pretty much suspect as to where it's at.
Mr. Lattimore, I personally want to say thank you. We are working with these adults and youngsters and trying to get their life on track. I really want to credit for that, sir. To me, it comes back to a quality of life issue. Parents are not able to work in 2 or 3 jobs. They're not able to spend time raising their children, taking care of their families. We need to get a handle on that. As I mentioned at the rally a couple of weeks back, it takes a groundswell, a movement locally to get something started. Auburn is not the only community with this problem. There's probably not a community in our county that doesn't have some sort of a problem, or our adjoining counties. We need to get to Albany with a lot of people demanding some help in this regard. We need more hospitals. We need better trained staff, help with our drug courts. This is an issue that does take effect at home, but at the same time, it has to be bumped up a level because we cannot afford everything, in my mind, that is necessary.
Next question addresses the Auburn Shine Theater. Citizen recently did a fantastic article on the history of the Shine Theater. What do you think the next steps are to restoring this beloved landmark?
Robert, I hope you didn't write the article. It was fantastic. All right, David Wilcox will shout out. The Shine Theater in its day was a beautiful facility. When I was a kid, you had the choice between going to Shine's or the Palace, which is now part of Wegmans. I believe that what Shine's needs, it needs some clear direction as to what they want to be and what the audience, the crowd they're going to go after. That's a decision by the Shine's Theater, or the group that's in charge of the Shine's Theater. Once they make a decision on where they want to go and how they want to get there, the city, by all means, or our planning department, everyone necessary on staff, we will give all the assistance that we can, writing grants, looking for grants, whatever the case may be. But I really think that the Shine's Theater has to decide what they want to be, what type of crowd they expect to draw from it, that will underwrite the cost of operations.
I have a lot of fond memories of the Shines as a kid growing up. And Auburn, you know, I don't know whether you're living in the past or the future, but I think that we can bring that building back to its stately thing. It is on the National Registry. You hate to lose any building that's on the registry. Normally you have to find an angel. I know that Welch Allen just sold the business for about $1 billion. That might be one of those angels. The Allens have always been very kind to Auburn, whether it's the YMCA or other issues. So if you can find somebody who can carry that load, that would be the answer.
Going back to my earlier statement, you've had 14 years to find an angel. I thought you could even find one with maybe just one wing, but we are living in the past. You may be, but I'm not. I'm in the future. I want it to grow and prosper and be beautiful once again, but we have to be practical at the same time.
Downtown has recently gone under a incredible transformation. However, there are several condemned buildings across from Whiteman's on Genesee Street that are standing in the way of a total transformation and include valuable retail space. What do you think the city can do about this lost opportunity?
Well, let me just say that working on the downtown has been a number of years. I can remember being on the planning board when we decided to have residential housing for our senior citizens downtown, Boyle, Stryker, Schwartz. You know, having built-in customers downtown is great. You know, worked on putting apartments upstairs. I see that there are some people who were involved with the downtown. We were in the Metcalf Plaza insurance agency, and we had worked on you know, rents, and then I can remember getting Restore New York money for Mr. Bartolotta to do the Logan loss. I remember yesterday Michael Long and I were traveling down to Albany to make sure he secured that grant, which primed the pump. And then he redid the button shop on East Hill, and we moved our agency over there. So our rents went up a little bit because the digs were better, but we've got skin in the game. We've had it in there for a long time. As mayor, we opened up a couple of the malls, put the pavers in, put the acorn lights in. We put the groundwork in for this renovation to happen. And thank God for people like the Bartolottas. They're very sincere, dedicated people, and they have a very good craft.
Would you ask a question?
Downtown has recently gone under incredible transformation. However, there are several condemned buildings across from Whiteman's on Genesee Street that are standing in the way of total transformation and include valuable retail space. What do you think the city can do about this lost opportunity?
I think the best answer is to look around, everyone. Look where you are tonight. 4, 5, 6 years ago, did you ever imagine being at Hilton Garden Inn in downtown Auburn? The secret is working with private developers. We need to encourage them. We need to work every day with them, not just when it's election time or when it's in. We need to form a relationship with them, as I have in our community, with many developers. I'm very proud of that, and hopefully they consider me a friend. But it takes private investors to do something like that. The last thing I would want to see is for the city of Auburn, and I'm assuming you're talking about the old Nolan's building and the bank on the corner. That's my guess. But the last thing I want to see the city to do is take possession of those 2 buildings. We've already been through it once with the Cayuga building on State Street. So it's a loser for the city, but it's certainly worth working with a private developer and changing the look of that side of Genesee Street.
One more question before we get to closing statements. What role should the city play in working on Wasco Lake water quality issues with neighboring municipalities, including the town of Wasco?
The city of Auburn should have a much larger part in that. Our water treatment facilities supplies water to approximately 40,000 people. We need to get more involved. We do have committees, but many times we're excluded from these committees. Our drinking water is one of our biggest assets. It was only second to the people who live in this community. If we lose our lake, it'll be a ghost town here. I don't want to be part of that. But we need to do everything, including working with the county, working with the state, federal authorities. whoever it takes, we need to get this issue resolved.
I- Cute kids. The lake issue is everybody's number one source. As you know, between the Great Lakes, the Finger Lakes, and the Canadian lakes, that's 1/20 of the world's fresh water. That element in this century is going to be absolutely is the necessity. You can't drink oil. So as California goes brown, thank God we have these lakes. It contains and renews an annual crop of water every year. So anything we can do to protect that watershed, and I think the manure management group is studying some of the runoff issues that we have with some of the product that is being spread on the ground. So hopefully we can, at one time in '87, I don't want to look at the past, but even before they put in the corrections in Moravia, I indicated that we had the railroad right away on the west side of the lake, and that we should put in a sewer to get all that product off the lake, so that it wasn't even an issue, as the Moravia had a sewage treatment problem, and so did with the new corrections. So it's unfortunate that we didn't take advantage of the right-of-way that was left by the railroad.
For the closing statements, just a reminder, this is a 2-minute closing statement. We'll wrap it up, take a break, and then the city council candidates will step up. So.
I'm going to talk faster this time. I'm not going to look at the time, but I'll figure it out. So. Mr. Lattimore and I disagree quite a bit on the direction our city is headed, but we do have a few things in common. We both love Auburn. I don't question that for a second. And as Tim noted in an earlier debate, we're the same age and we both have a full tank. He didn't clarify of what, but we have a full tank. Most importantly, we both have records in elected office. Tim was a city councilor, mayor, now 6 years. I've been mayor for the last 8 years. I urge you to consider these records when you vote on election day. In the past 8 years as mayor, we've been named by Forbes as a top small city to raise a family, a best city to live in New York, and most recently, a top city in the Northeast for small business. I'm proud of these results. Regardless, a week after Election Day, we'll be celebrating Veterans Day. And I am reminded that so many have fought and died for our right to vote. No matter whom you vote for, please get out and vote. It is your privilege and duty to do so and honor one of our greatest freedoms. People ask me who I'm voting for, and I just smile and let them wonder about that. I'm sure you do also, Mr. Lattimore. Thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you to Ignite for sponsoring this forum. Thank you.
I also would like to thank the Ignite group. I think it's very good for our young people to be involved. This is going to be your town when us old guys are gone. Nobody left. Raise your hand if you got a Quill sign in your yard. Look at all those hands go up. Wow. Packed house. Anyways, I think the public safety is the number one. We spend a lot of money on public safety, about 18 million. We only bring in 8 million in property taxes. I want to make sure that this poison that's being spread on our streets is done with. These dealers, if they come into our town and they're spreading this poison, I just want them gone. We got to be harsher with that, and I think that we need some more cops on the street to make sure that this dope dealing poison doesn't get to our kids any more than it is. I wish Amy all the luck with her issues with the school board. We have to start training these kids a lot sooner than what we're doing, and hopefully we can, as soon as I'm elected, I am going to get rid of that year-round alternate parking. Okay? That is absolutely crazy. So anyways, thank you very much for attending tonight, and look forward to tomorrow's debate with the mayor on TV.